Tonight on the News Hour, Senate President Akpabio says tax bill still on track as Senate stands firm against intimidation. Military retirees protest unpaid entitlements, shut down Finance Ministry. FCT residents speak as federal government dismisses civil servants with degrees from Benin Republic and Togo. On the foreign scene, Namibia's president-elect promises bold reforms on poverty and unemployment. Good evening and welcome to the News Hour live on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We start in the Federal Capital Territory, where the Nigerian Senate has clarified that the proposed tax reform bills have neither been suspended nor withdrawn, contrary to reports circulating in some parts of the media. Senate President Godswill Akpabio emphasized the independence of the legislative chamber and his commitment to protecting the interest of Nigerians during deliberations on the controversial bills. The clarification followed a point of order raised by Senate Leader Opemi Bamidele aimed at setting the record straight. The report.
Senator Bamidele expressed displeasure with reports that the bills had been withdrawn, stressing that the executive has the right to do so. He noted that the reservations raised during the debate was the reason an ad hoc committee was constituted to look at grey areas and report back to the Senate. Bamidele equally noted that the delicate nature of the proposal was the reason membership of the committee cuts across all the geopolitical zones of the country. The Senate leader therefore urged the public to exercise patience as whatever action taken is for the betterment of the people.
The tax reform bills are alive in this hollow chamber. They are receiving consideration at various levels, and we are open to discussions, to negotiations, to interface. But let it not be said anywhere that we suspended further consideration of these bills.
In his remarks, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio said the Red Chamber will not be bullied or intimidated over the tax reform bills, asserting that legislative action on the proposed laws will continue in the interest of Nigerians.
For the tax reform bills, we believe that there are too many provisions there that would definitely help Nigerians. You can't imagine what it means for businesses that earn less than 50 million not to pay tax. You can't imagine what it means for multiplicity of taxes to be abrogated. You can't imagine what it means for people who earn less than the minimum wage or even minimum wage not to pay tax. So the exemptions are such that over 100 million Nigerians will benefit from these tax reform bills.
The Senate also reshuffled the membership of the committee responsible for meeting with the federal government delegation to address concerns raised about the tax reform bills currently under review. Tahir Mungunu, Senate Chief Whip, was removed from the committee and replaced by Kaka Shehu, Senator representing Borno Central Senatorial District. Akpabio explained that principal officers should not be part of the committee, stating that this was the consensus reached during a closed-door session last week before the bills passed the second reading.
Meanwhile, senators from Nigeria's South-South geopolitical zone have thrown their weight behind the president's proposed tax reform bills, emphasizing their potential to boost national revenue and stabilize the Nigerian economy. Under the aegis of the South-South Senators Forum, the lawmakers affirmed their commitment to thoroughly evaluate the bills to ensure they serve national interest while safeguarding the well-being of their region. The bills, which passed their second reading in the Nigerian Senate on Thursday last week, have been referred to the Senate Committee on Finance, chaired by Senator Sani Musa, for further scrutiny, including public hearings. In a statement issued by the forum's chairman, Senator C.I.K. Dixon, the lawmakers called on the South-South governors to collaborate with the National Assembly in refining the legislation for mutual benefit. They also urged stakeholders to steer clear of regional or ethnic sentiments, advocating for a constructive and inclusive legislative process. Staying with that development, a former Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Idi Farouk, has expressed his displeasure over the controversy shrouding the ongoing national debate over the proposed tax reform bills. Idi Farouk made the comments while appearing as a guest on Trust TV's Daily Politics, while calling for wider consultations to reach a common ground.
It is extremely very sad. It's a very sad development that is ongoing. whatever. I mean, they're making the senators. They are making a mountain out of a molehill. The tax reforms in itself.
Yeah.
Not that I have read it, but I have had so many commentaries on it. So I therefore know those for and those against.
Right.
Particularly those against are not against the entire tax reform as it is. They are looking after particularly the VAT, which is an value added tax.
Right.
Which again is a consumption tax.
Yeah.
Meaning that if consumption is done, wherever it is done, something accrues to that place. So really, I really don't know why they cannot take a little while. I really don't know why they would put up a committee and not allow the committee to do its work. Because I have seen the tax man, Oloide.
Yes.
He's very efficient in his explanation and things.
Right.
But if in a democracy, you must take everybody on board.
You can watch a repeat of the program and the full conversation with Idi Farouk later at 11 p.m. Now, the Nigerian Army has announced a major success in its fight against banditry in southern Kaduna, with troops from the 3rd Division Operation Safe Haven neutralizing several bandits and rescuing 25 kidnapped victims. The operation, carried out on Wednesday and codenamed Operation Golden Peace, was part of efforts to secure the ongoing harvest season and ensure peaceful Yuletide celebrations in the area. In a post on its official X handle, the military disclosed that troops recovered hard drugs, including tramadol, energy drinks, and clothing materials during the mission. This latest effort underscores the Army's commitment to restoring peace and stability across the region.
Malam, me zaka ce da wannan gudunmuwa da abaku? Ba za ka iya magana ba? To ba za su iya magana ba saboda suna cikin halin gajiya. Don haka muna godiya ga wannan jami'an tsaro.
Scenes from southern Kaduna. Now, the Defense Headquarters has reported significant gains in the fight against insecurity, revealing that the military neutralized 8,035 terrorists, arrested 11,623 suspects, and rescued 6,376 kidnapped hostages between January and December this year. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja on Thursday, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, highlighted the military's sustained efforts in addressing threats across 5 active theaters of operation nationwide. Buba also disclosed that troops recovered 8,216 weapons, over 211,000 rounds of ammunition, and prevented oil thieves from stealing an estimated 57 billion naira worth of crude oil in the last 11 months. He also emphasized the military's heightened state of readiness to counter threats and protect the nation from further aggression and insecurity. In other news, the Nigeria Governors Forum has condemned the bombing of a bridge in Zamfara State by suspected Lakurawa terrorists. On Wednesday, 8 people were killed when an explosive hit the Gusau-Dansado bridge, destroying a golf car commuting to Gusau. Subsequently, Mohammed Dalijan, Zamfara State Police Commissioner, says members of the Lakurawa terrorist group were spotted near the blast site moments before the explosion. Reacting in a statement issued on Thursday, the Nigeria Governors Forum Chairman Abdurrahman Abdurazak commiserated with Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State and families of those who lost their lives. He called on the Nigerian Army and security agencies to restore peace and ensure safety across the country. Amnesty International has called on the federal government to bring Boko Haram terrorists to justice for committing atrocities against humanity in northeast Nigeria. It disclosed this during a press briefing themed Girls Survivors of Boko Haram and Military Abuses in the Northeast, which was held in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. It stressed that those wrongfully detained by the military deserve justice after being imprisoned for several years under the suspicion of being terrorists. The organization observed that the survivors, mostly women and girls, suffered stigmatization and forced marriages during captivity. Amnesty International Country Director Issa Sanusi stated that it has lodged a complaint with the International Criminal Court regarding human rights violations allegedly committed by the Nigerian military and Boko Haram terrorists against conflict victims who have suffered molestation and have been subjected to other forms of abuse. He urged the government to investigate and serve justice for the victims and survivors of the conflict.
There are many suspects, Boko Haram suspects, that are undergoing military trial. We all know that. Therefore, it is possible. It is something that should happen. The government has the responsibility. And if we don't do that, we are going to create a wall in which people can just do what they like and just get away with it. So when we say that Boko Haram too should be brought to justice, we are not just saying it for the sake of saying it. We believe that it is possible and it can be done and it must be done. And if it does not happen, it's because the government is not committed to doing it.
When we spoke to them, they told us how they expected and requested government support for their reintegration, but unfortunately felt invisible, neglected. And that's why we wanted to support them in their journey to claim back their future.
Now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has appealed to the federal government to systematically phase out the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, which has transformed, according to the union, tertiary educational institutions in Nigeria in the last 3 decades. A statement signed by the national president of ASU, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, warned that suffocating the funding source of TED Fund to run the Nigeria Education Loan Fund would destroy public education in the country. Osodeke alleges that some members of the ruling class, quote, want to destroy public universities and ensure that the children of the poor remain slaves, end quote. Now, the ASU president faulted the tax bills currently being looked at by the National Assembly, saying that stakeholders were not consulted within the educational sector before the bills were sent to the National Assembly. He said rather than systematically phase out TED Fund, which derives its funding from consolidated revenue from company income tax, the government should bankroll the newly formed NEL Fund from value-added tax. To Taraba State, where Governor Abu Kefas on Thursday called on striking lecturers of the Taraba State University to sheath their sword and return to the negotiation table. The special advisor to the governor on media and digital communications, Emmanuel Bello, who disclosed this in a statement, stated indefinite strike action followed by what ASU termed, quote, a breakdown in talks over demands. In a swift response, the governor of Taraba State, Abu Kefas, appealed to the lecturers to reconsider their action, as dialogue is still the best option for conflict resolution. He commended the lecturers for their understanding in the past, but urges them to exercise patience as the state government is attending to the issues gradually. Kefas stated that the state government is working on all outstanding agreements and other related issues, saying the lecturers remain his partners in an effort to provide free quality education. Kefas reiterated his commitment to meeting their demands and also create a conducive environment for learning in the university community. Some members of the Nigerian Armed Forces retirees under the umbrella of the Coalition of Military Pensioners in Abuja on Thursday shut down the Federal Ministry of Finance over the non-payment of their 20% to 28% salary increment from January to November this year. The retired military officers who came from different chapters lamented the failure of the federal government to pay them their entitlements. Their demands are payment of palliatives from October 2023 to November 2024 and the payment of 32,000 naira added to pension and payment of security disbarment allowance in bulk and a refund of deductions made from the pensions of medically boarded soldiers, among others. Now, the federal government's decision to disengage civil servants holding degrees from institutions in Benin Republic and Togo has sparked widespread reactions. The directive, which targets graduates from 2017 to date, has been met with approval from many Nigerians who see it as a step towards sanitizing the public service. Trust TV's Antonia Ebohong hit the streets of Abuja to gauge public opinion, finding a consensus among citizens who applauded the move as a necessary tool to uphold the integrity of the system. Her report.
The Director of Information and Public Relations in Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Segun Imohyonse, confirmed the development on Wednesday in a statement. In August, the federal government announced that only 8 universities had been accredited to award degrees to Nigerians in Togo and Benin Republic. This followed an undercover investigation report in which a daily Nigerian journalist acquired a degree from a university in Benin Republic in 2 months and used it to participate in a National Youth Service Corps scheme. Following the report, the government banned the accreditation and evaluation of degrees from tertiary institutions in Benin Republic and Togo. The federal government also set up an interministerial investigative committee on degree certificate miling to probe the activities of certificate racketeers. Some residents of Abuja who reacted to the act of acquiring fake certificates to secure jobs said it is wrong and highly condemnable and applauded the decision of the federal government.
The act of certificate racketing is condemnable, absolutely, and untimely. A lot of people have struggled to get into various universities in Nigeria by writing jams and work per se. It has not been very easy. And eventually they went through the rigor of acquiring a certificate in the various universities in Nigeria. And for some other people to have gone through shortcuts by way of going to Togo and Benin Republic to acquire certificates that do not exist is condemnable, absolutely, and it's an act of criminality. And what the decision of the federal government is quite applaudable.
While residents commended the federal government, they also advised that more layers of checks should be put in place in the Nigerian educational system to address the menace of fake degrees. They lamented that such loopholes are depriving Nigerians with genuine certificate the opportunity of securing jobs.
So what the government do is good. But another thing is for the government to put their own school in order. Because if their school is in order, there is no need of going to the neighboring. If you are talking of, say, Canada, US, UK, it's quite different than the same our brother here, Africa, and which, if the government has done the right thing, will even have better standard of education more than those countries.
It's a good thing that the government has taken it upon itself to ensure that forging of certificates and the rest of them, they're trying to cut it down, because if you even look at Nigeria as a whole, the system is not working. So because the system is not working, it cuts across everybody, and then so many people even jump. In fact, not just that, there are some that did not even go to primary school, just went straight to secondary school, and there are some that didn't even go to secondary, just straight to the university.
I think the federal government is doing a good thing with this, because the truth is, the situation whereby an hardworking person, as in after spending so much time reading, struggling to make sure that you come out to get a good job, you can't get it. Why? Because those that feel they have the money, they've already gotten the positions whereby they don't even work for it and all that. So I think when they come up with things like that, is to actually give room for people that actually worked for it to be in that position.
It's a good step. That has to stop. They have to stop it immediately, so that our own youth that are not employed can be able to employ in those offices.
While some residents are hopeful that the move will help rid the system of bad eggs, others say that this will serve as a warning for those who are thinking of a shortcut to academic success. Antonia Ebohong, Trust TV News.
You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, young geniuses wow spectators at Kano Trade Fair with tech innovations. More on this and many other stories coming up ahead after the break. Join us again. Welcome back to the news. Let's take another look at our top stories. The Nigerian Senate President says the tax bills remain on track as the Senate stands against intimidation attempts. Military retirees protest unpaid entitlements, shut down Ministry of Finance. The Nigerian Police Force has denied allegations of smuggling against its Inspector General of Police, Kayode Betokun. According to a statement by Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the Force Public Relations Officer, the IGP is not shielding a cartel accused of smuggling suspicious new banknotes from the Central Bank of Nigeria as being reported.
As noted with concern the recent allegations circulating in the media, suggesting that the Inspector General of Police, IGP Olukayode Adeolu-Egbetokun, PhD, NPM is shielding a cartel accused of smuggling suspicious new banknotes from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Nigeria Police Force categorically refutes these claims, condemning them as baseless and orchestrated attempts to tarnish the IGP's reputation and integrity of the force. The incident in question, which occurred at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport on August 26, 2023, has been thoroughly investigated. The officers involved, DSP Peter Ejike, a lawyer in charge of Zone 7 Legal Section, Inspector Ekende Edwin, Inspector Esther Okafor, and Sergeant Talabi Kayode, all attached to the Zone 7 headquarters, Abuja, were found culpable and sanctioned appropriately.
Elsewhere, the Edo State Police Command says it has directed investigation following the death of the former chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Edo State Chapter, Kaduna Igboedobin. According to a statement from the union through its acting chairman, Joman Bernard, Igboedobin died after an argument with police officers on Monday in Benin City. The statement disclosed that during the argument with operatives of the Nigerian police, Igboedobin slumped and died on the way to the hospital. Bernard noted that although the operatives may not have directly caused his death, the officers, after aggravating the cause of his untimely death, ran away and left him struggling for his life. The Edo State Police Command, while reacting to the calls for justice, says it has directed an investigation into the incident. In a statement, the command spokesperson Moses Yamu disclosed that the police received the news of Igboedobin's death, allegedly due to police unprofessional conduct, with concern. The Okwama community in Ughelli South local government area of Delta State is in mourning following the reported death of its President General, Pa James Ogoroko, allegedly from torture and inhuman treatment while in military detention. Pa Ogoroko, along with other community leaders, was arrested by the Nigerian military between August 18 and 20th, 2024. Since then, they had been held in detention without trial. The tragic news was disclosed during an emergency meeting convened by Okwama leaders, who also revealed that Pa Dennis Okugbai, another detained leader, is critically ill in the same undisclosed military facility. The arrest followed a violent clash that led to the killing of 17 soldiers and the subsequent demolition of Okwama community. In response, the community filed multiple lawsuits against the Nigerian army seeking redress for the alleged illegal detentions and destruction of their homes. As the December 9 bill hearing approaches, the Okwama community is demanding accountability for the treatment of their leaders in detention, while calling for the immediate release of those still in military custody. To some of the day's other news, Borno State Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur and over 100 passengers narrowly escaped a tragic incident when a MAX Air flight experienced an engine failure shortly after takeoff from Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. The incident occurred around 7 p.m. on Wednesday when the aircraft en route to Abuja suffered engine failure caused by a bird strike about 10 minutes into the flight. The pilot and crew managed to execute an emergency landing back at Maiduguri Airport, averting a disaster. A Max Air staff member who spoke on the condition of anonymity confirmed the incident on Thursday morning. The staff member explained that shortly after takeoff, the aircraft struck a bird mid-air, which caused one of the engines to catch fire. Following the emergency landing, passengers were reportedly in a state of panic, with many opting to collect their luggages and return home rather than board another flight. However, Max Air management promptly arranged for another aircraft from Kano to transport resilient passengers, including the Deputy Governor, safely to Abuja. 4 members of the House of Representatives have defected from the Labour Party to the All Progressives Congress, the APC, citing internal crisis and the absence of a national working committee in the Labour Party as key reasons for their defection. The defectors include Chinedu Okere, representing Owerri Municipal, Owerri North, Owerri West constituency of Imo State, Matthew Donatus of Kaura constituency of Kaduna, Basi Akiba of Calabar Municipal, Odukpani in Cross River, and Esosa Iyawe of Oredo in Edo State. Additionally, Area Take Ibori Suenu, representing Ethiopia Federal Constituency of Delta, left the People's Democratic Party, I beg your pardon, for the APC. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas announced the defections on Thursday and congratulated the lawmakers while stating that they had made the right decision. However, Minority Whip Ali Isa and Deputy Minority Whip George Ozodinobi criticized the defections. Ozodinobi, a Labour Party leader, accused the defectors of lacking political ideology, while also adding that the APC has brought hunger to Nigerians.
After much reflection and careful consideration, I have concluded that the All Progressive Party aligns more closely with my values, principles, and visions for the future of our country. I believe this decision will better enable me to serve the interests of our people and contribute more effectively to the development of policies that will drive positive change. During my time with Labour Party, I have worked diligently to support the party's initiatives. However, after careful examination of the political landscape, I have come to the realization that my political ideas are not better represented by All Progressive Party.
Mr. Speaker, my very respected honorable colleagues, I believe as members, we have to be serious with our constitutional issues. I know the Speaker is somebody that respects the laws, and I'm sure in a moment he will declare some seat vacants, because the Constitution clearly stated that if you are sponsored by a political party to a House of Representatives or Senate, and you decide to move to another party, the House shall declare your seat vacant.
When people enter political party without an ideology, we see such level of defection. People who don't have ideology in anything they do, they don't need to be trusted in any form, whether they are in APC or PDP.
In a related development, the Labour Party on Thursday revealed that it would request the leadership of the House of Representatives to declare vacant the seats of its former members who recently defected to the All Progressives Congress. The opposition party also vowed to take legal action against the defecting lawmakers and announced that it had opened a register for members of the House and other elected officials who disgraced the party by switching allegiances to other political platforms. This was disclosed in a statement issued in Abuja by the party's National Publicity Secretary. The statement also says concerns follow the defection of several Labour Party lawmakers in the House of the ruling APC as their defection letters were read on the floor of the Green Chamber by the Speaker on Thursday. The members of who defected, or rather the party, noted that the defectors had demonstrated a grave level of character deficit by betraying public trust. Still talking politics, the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has asked the leaders of the party from the North Central to produce a replacement of former National Chairman Iyorchia Ayu. The call was contained in a communique read by the Board of Trustees Chairman Adolphus Wabara at the end of an emergency meeting held in Abuja on Thursday. The Board of Trustees of the PDP urged the party leaders from the zone to convene a meeting of stakeholders to nominate a replacement for the former National Chairman. According to the Board of Trustees, the board members at the meeting thoroughly assessed the state of affairs of the party and the country. The Board of Trustees of the PDP expressed deep worry over the current state of affairs in the PDP, particularly with regards to the administration of the party. It demanded that the National Working Committee should immediately commence the restoration of internal harmony, unity, stability, and public confidence in the PDP. To health matters now, as the world marks HIV and AIDS Day 2024, we turn our focus to Nigeria, a country with one of the highest HIV prevalence rates in the world. In this explainer, Lillian Ogazi delves into the statistics, the challenges, and progress in the fight against HIV and AIDS, highlighting the efforts to achieve a future free of stigma and new infections.
Did you know that Nigeria records approximately 42,700 AIDS-related deaths every year? This alarming figure, shared by the network of people living with HIV and AIDS in Nigeria, sheds light on the challenges Nigeria faces in combating HIV and AIDS. But what is driving these numbers and what can be done? Nigeria has one of the highest HIV burdens globally. About 1.9 million Nigerians are currently living with HIV, and in 2023 alone, there were around 75,000 new infections. The prevalence rate among adults aged 15 to 49 stands at 1.3%. One critical issue is preventing HIV transmission from mothers to their children. Many pregnant women lack access to prenatal care, including HIV testing and antiretroviral therapy, which are essential to preventing transmission. Fear of judgment often keeps women from seeking help due to stigma, and in rural areas, healthcare facilities are either insufficient or poorly equipped to meet these needs. Despite the challenges, there are ongoing efforts to turn the tide. Prevention of mother-to-child transmission programs provide testing, ART, and safe delivery practices. Early infant diagnosis ensures infants born to HIV-positive mothers are tested and treated early. Prevention strategies such as condom distribution, promotion of safe sex, and voluntarily male circumcision helps reduce infection. Expanding access to ART and prioritizing community-led healthcare services are key steps forward. Additionally, public health campaigns aim to combat stigma and encourage testing and treatment. The staggering number of 42,700 AIDS-related deaths annually serves as a call to action. By tackling mother-to-child transmission, improving healthcare access, and reducing stigma, Nigeria can make meaningful progress in its fight against HIV and AIDS. The journey is challenging, but with concerted effort, a healthier future is within reach.
Now, the former managing director of the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, Ahmed Kuru, is set to be arraigned on February 11, 2025 on another fresh charge for fraudulent conversion of 20 billion naira AMCON funds. The fresh 6-count charge filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission disclosed that the AMCON funds was converted through Heritage Bank to the use of a company, Sigma Gulf Nigeria Limited, for the acquisition of Keystone Bank. Kuru and his co-defendants, the chairman of Keystone Bank, Umaru Hamidu Modibo, and the company, Sigma Gulf Nigeria Limited, will be arraigned before Justice Rahman Oshodi of the Lagos High Court, sitting in Ikeja. Another person who was named in the charge, Ife Sekibo, is said to be at large. Meanwhile, Kuru's lawyer, Olasupo Sharore, SAN, has written to the EFCC chairman to request a suspension of the execution of the bench warrant which the court issued for his arrest after he failed to appear for his arraignment on Tuesday, December 3rd, on a 6-count charge of abuse of office, alleged stealing of 76 billion naira and property belonging to Arik Air. Sharore, in the letter dated December 3rd, also made an undertaking to produce Kuru on the next adjourned date of January 20th, 2025 before Justice Mojishola Dada for his arraignment. The rising cost of production and soaring electricity bills have forced Desmim's Independent Television and Alheri Radio Kaduna, Nigeria's oldest private station, to shut down operations. Now, the station's management attributes the closure to the harsh economic climate, which has crippled revenue generation and cast doubt on the survival of private media in the country. Trust TV's Bello Musa brings us a special report on how the current economic crisis in the country is threatening the future of private media practice in the country.
Established in 1992 by the late Khalifa Baba Ahmad, the station has since then been broadcasting in Hausa and became the most watched in many households in Kaduna and other parts of northern Nigeria. However, the media outfit is gradually losing ground due to dwindling revenue generation, as well as the difficult and unfavorable economic situation in the country. Presently, operations have been shut down.
DITV and Alheri Radio, which is owned by Desmim's Broadcast Nigeria Limited, decided to shut down our transmission as a result of economic challenges we are facing in the country.
Epileptic electricity supply, high cost of diesel, according to them, have combined to cripple the station.
Some of the issues that led to the shutting down of the transmission as a result of running costs, the operational cost and the maintenance cost of the station.
Also affect the run of the stations. As far as we are concerned, the government, they are not looking. If the elite and the rich ones from the area could be able enough to support this radio, TV, there is no need that a TV like this could crash easily. But this is how we have most of our radio crumbling. The radio and TV, even the newspaper are crumbling because of lack of support by the philanthropists and other wealthy individuals from the area.
The company's financial difficulties have put the jobs of staff members at risk. Meanwhile, broadcast journalists are worried that if the economic situation in the country persists, it will spell doom for broadcast media, especially in the north.
If this economic situation continue, I see more TV, radio, newspaper crumbling, grounding down totally. Because when there is no more income coming to support the house to sustain its productivity, it cannot hold anymore. So I felt bad to see this really that in the future we see more broadcast radio stations crumbling down because of lack of support, because the economic hardship is really hitting back. The cost of diesel and other maintenance equipment in this radio house is really not easy. Not all radio, TV or broadcast TV can be able enough to pay their staff their salary.
Honestly, this is a sad moment to the media industry in Nigeria as a whole, especially in the northern part of the country. If you look at the recent shutting down of DITV and Alheri Radio, which is based in Kaduna, definitely it is a sad moment for all of us, the media practitioner and that of media industry. Because
the fate of the media in Nigeria in the present harsh economic climate is unknown, as operators struggle to survive amidst inflation, fluctuations in exchange rates, and rising cost of production. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
To Kano now, where 3 young innovators are turning heads with their impressive drone creations. Their groundbreaking work has captured the attention of social media, fueling excitement and shining a spotlight on youth creativity across the country. Here's the report.
The group includes Salim Musa, Jibril Musa and Aliu Muhammad. They showcased their work at the Trade Fair Complex in Kano, where onlookers watched how these 3 young men displayed drones they built from scratch. Yes. After their video went viral, Trust TV engaged them to tell the world their story. These young men are not only building drones, but are also showing Nigerian youths what can be achieved even with limited resources.
Those things are actually motors that we use: ASC, speed controller, then the receiver, then battery, then servos. Those are the main things that will make your drone or anything fly. So to get these items is very difficult, and now due to the situation we are in now, you have to start working very hard to see that we arrange some things down.
Despite the challenges, they believe drones can solve problems.
If I can have enough funding to progress my drone work, I will really tackle the delivery challenge. Because looking at the current situation we are in Nigeria, and most especially northern part of Nigeria, our local areas are very far from the main cities, and some of the challenges happening there cannot be solved in a short period of time. Before it even reach the city, it has already gone far from there.
To me, if I have enough funding, I will go with the security. Because of the situation we are in Nigeria, we have a lot of crises and bandits. So the UAV drone, it will help a lot.
The collaboration between these 3 young men has been key to their progress. As a group, they are not only working on building better drones, but also on fostering the next generation.
In the next 5 years, I would like us to have a big company where all those drones are going to be manufactured and even sell out to other foreign countries. And I want us to have a center where we are going to teach anybody that has passion on drones. You can contact us so that we can put them through all those things we are doing.
Their journey proves that passion and determination can overcome challenges, especially with creativity and teamwork. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News.
Impressive scenes there. To neighboring Jigawa, where Governor Umar Namadi has emphasized the transformative role of technology in promoting transparency and accountability, key components of modern democracy and effective governance. He made this assertion while inaugurating a 4-day retreat for members of the Gombe State House of Assembly in Dutse, the Jigawa state capital.
The retreat, themed Technology Adoption in Modern Democracy, aims to equip lawmakers and their management staff with the tools needed to embrace innovation in legislative processes. Governor Namadi highlighted the importance of such initiatives in fostering good governance and building a stronger nation.
So also the relationship between our sister states, especially in the areas of governance and legislative cooperation, has always been one of mutual respect and shared purposes. It is indeed a pleasure to be here today as the special guest of honor, where we are going to explore critical issues surrounding the role of technology in modern democratic governance. Now, the role of technology in democracy. Democracy at its core is about giving voice to the people. It is about ensuring that the decisions made by those in power reflect the will of the electorate, and that those decisions are made transparently, efficiently, and with accountability.
The Speaker of the Gombe State House of Assembly, Muhammad Abubakar, described the retreat tagged E-Legislative in a Democracy as timely and necessary to align with global trends in governance and legislation.
Jigawa, being an agrarian state, have received so much attention from you. We are all aware in the area of agricultural improvement by disbursing a lot of capital to farming community to improve their productivity. This will not only benefit the United States, but serves as a menace to the lingering food security in the nation at large.
His remarks were echoed by Haruna Aliud Engatin, the Speaker of the Jigawa House of Assembly, who underscored the legislature's critical role in maintaining balance within the nation's democratic framework.
As the legislators, we occupy a critical position in governance process, and the integration of technology into our legislative duties is no longer optional. It is necessity. This meeting planned and organized by the State House of Assembly provides a unique opportunity for its members to reflect, learn, and strategize on leveraging technology to enhance the legislative process.
Participants noted that choosing Duse as the venue was strategic, as Jigawa State's rapid development under Governor Namadi's leadership offers valuable lessons. They highlighted Jigawa's strides in agriculture, education, healthcare, and youth and women empowerment as examples Gombe could emulate in its governance journey.
In business, the managing director of the Nigeria Ports Authority, Abubakar Dantsoho, has called for revenue generation from ports to enable the country actualize the renewed hope mandate. Speaking during an operational visit to the One Port Complex and the Rivers Port, Dantsoho, who was recently elected as the first Nigerian president of the Ports Management Association of West Africa and Central Africa, says the current administration led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu is concerned about the growing maritime industry and deepening operations at the ports. He called for enhanced efficiency and urged operators to do more. Dantsoho says given Nigeria's large population, the ports deserve greater investment than what is currently available, and implored all terminal operators to leverage the investor-friendly initiatives of the current administration. He noted that the government on its part is investing heavily in the maritime sector, while adding that plans are underway to develop the Apapa and Tinkan ports in Lagos. Several OPEC Plus countries, including Saudi Arabia and Russia, on Thursday agreed to extend oil supply cuts for 3 months through March to avoid a sharp drop in prices in a global market awash in crude. The decision had been widely expected, though dissension that caused the meeting to be delayed by a few days had created some doubts that the oil cartel would maintain the cuts. 8 OPEC Plus countries will extend their, quote, voluntary adjustments of 2.2 million barrels per day until the end of March. The Vienna-based group said in a statement following a virtual meeting. After that, those cuts will, quote, be gradually phased out on a monthly basis until the end of September 2026. The group said, while adding that subject to market conditions without a new agreement, the 8 countries were set to begin increasing production beginning in January to gradually delay returning it back to 2023 levels. Algeria, Iraq, Kazakhstan, Kuwait, Oman, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates have already twice pushed back the production increases that were set to have begun in October and then in December. Namibia's president-elect Nandi Ndaitwah has pledged radical shifts to fix the country's high levels of poverty and unemployment. She was speaking on Thursday in her first press conference since winning last week's election. Nandi Ndaitwah, who will take office in March of 2025 as the first woman to hold the position in the southern African country, suggested that she might break with her SWAPO party predecessors on some social and economic issues. SWAPO has governed Namibia since its independence from apartheid South Africa in 1990. She did not lay out specific plans, but mentioned a need for land reform and more equitable distribution of wealth. Namibia is classed by the World Bank as an upper middle income country, but it is one of the most unequal in the world, with high poverty levels that are partly a legacy of decades of white minority rule. Elsewhere on the continent, Togo will hold its first elections for the upper house of parliament on February 2nd, one of the last steps towards implementing a contested new constitution, the government said on Thursday. The overhaul abolishes the election of the head of state by universal suffrage and introduces a parliamentary system. It has been slammed by opposition and civil society groups as a ploy by President Faure Gnassingbé to hold onto power indefinitely. Under the provisions, Gnassingbé would have been able to run for the presidency just one more time in 2025. But with the reform, Togo's president becomes a mostly ceremonial role elected by parliament and not the people for a 4-year term. Gnassingbé will be able to take a new post as president of Council of Ministers, allowing him to stay in power without term limits as long as his Union for the Republic remains the majority party in the National Assembly. All right, let's bring you up to date with the latest in sports. Here's Emmanuel Fashemi with the latest.
The management of reigning MPFL champions Rangers International FC of Enugu says it has decided to throw the gates open to fans and supporters for the March Day 16 Nigerian Premier Football League fixture against visiting Rivers United on Sunday, December 8, 2024. The gesture is said to celebrate the festive period with loyal and ever-present supporters of the club that have always been there for the club through thick and thin. In a memo from the office of the CEO, Amobi Eziaku, the management described the gesture as one that is meant to appreciate and in celebration of the Yuletide season for the fans and supporters. Last season, it was Kazim Oguleya's well-struck free kick that settled the encounter on January 24, 2024, and the coach Fidelis Ilechukwu tutored side will be looking to extend its unbeaten run this term that has been stretched to 8 matches and bridge the gap at the top of the log. The indomitable Lions of Cameroon star player Flavien Enzo Biyemo has thrown his weight behind Nigerian Super Eagles winger Ademola Lookman to win the 2024 prestigious CAF award. The Nigerian international is among the remaining candidates listed for the award. Biyemo admitted that winning the UEFA Europa League with Atlanta gave him an edge to the award. I believe Lookman will win the African Ballon d'Or, Biyemo was quoted saying by the Actu Cameroon. He won the Europa League and he is the one who has the best chance of winning the trophy this year. The winner of the award will be announced on the 16th of December in Marrakech, Morocco. And that is sports. I am Emmanuel Fashemi.
And with that, we wrap up the bulletin on Trust News Hour tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We do appreciate you for your time and company. Do well to follow us across our social media platforms to stay in touch. You can also visit our website, trusttv.com, for the latest news, programs, and documentaries. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time and good night.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.